Welcome to Pillow Talk Dreams, where every night becomes a story and every story leads you to peace. If you love calm voices, gentle journeys, and stories that help you drift into dreams, then don't forget to subscribe and let your nights be a little softer. Now close your eyes and let the story begin. The day has ended. Let every sound around you fade. Feel the slow rise and fall of your breath. You are safe. You are calm. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Now let me take you to a place beyond the hurry of the world. A place where silence speaks in whispers. A place called the Whispering Forest. A home at the edge of the world far away, at the edge of rolling hills and sleepy rivers, stood a little wooden cabin. It was old but cared for, its walls brushed with time, its roof wearing a crown of moss and dew. In that cabin lived Alara, a quiet woman with eyes like morning mist. She rose with the dawn, gathered herbs from her garden, and spoke gently to the sparrows that perched by her window. But it was the night she loved most. When the sun melted into gold and then slipped beneath the horizon, Alara would light a small lantern, a round glass globe that glowed not bright but soft, as though the flame inside knew how to breathe. She called it the lantern of stillness. Every night she placed it on her windowsill, and the forest beyond her home shimmered faintly, as if breathing in that same calm. The villagers down the valley often spoke of strange peace that came from the forest when Alara's lantern shone. Children slept better, animals rested quietly, and even the restless wind slowed to listen. They said the forest whispered to her. Alara never denied it. She would simply smile and say, "The forest speaks to anyone who listens long enough." The calling night one evening, when the sky wore a deep velvet shade and stars trembled above like silver dust, Alara felt something new. The air outside was alive, a hum she could not name. Leaves rustled not from wind but from intention, as if the forest had drawn a single breath and was about to speak. She stepped onto her porch. The earth beneath her feet was cool, damp from afternoon rain. Her lantern flickered in her hand, casting circles of honey-gold light that danced across the ferns. Then she heard it soft, delicate, like a whisper drifting between worlds. "Ilara," she froze. Her heart slowed, yet she felt no fear. The voice was tender, almost familiar. "Ilara," it came again from deep within the forest like a lullaby calling her home. She whispered back, "I hear you." The wind replied with a sigh that brushed her hair. Without another thought, she stepped beyond the fence that marked her garden and followed the sound. The path of moonlight the forest opened before her, a cathedral of shadow and silver. Moonlight spilled through branches, painting pale ribbons across the moss. Alara walked slowly, each step measured, as if the ground might vanish if she hurried. The night air smelled of pine and wild jasmine. The deeper she went, the softer the world became. Birdsong faded, even the crickets hushed. Only the faint heartbeat of the earth remained. Sometimes when she blinked, she thought she saw faint glows between the trees, tiny sparks like floating stars. Fireflies, perhaps, or something older. "Ilara!" The whisper came again, closer now, wrapped in the hush of leaves. She followed, her lantern glowing gently in the dark. Light spilled over smooth stones, over roots shaped like resting serpents, over a stream that murmured secret dreams. "Ilara, come!" the wind breathed. Her pulse slowed to match the rhythm of the forest. Step by step, she moved deeper until the path curved toward something shining ahead. The silver pond there in the hollow of the woods lay a pond so still it looked like glass. The moon floated upon it whole, perfect, as though the sky had laid down to rest. Alara knelt by the water's edge. The lantern's light touched the surface, and the pond shimmered with soft ripples. For a moment she saw only her reflection. Then the ripples gathered into a glow, and from the heart of the pond rose a small golden fish. Its scales were bright as dawn, its fins trailing light like silk. When it spoke, the sound was barely sound at all, more like a thought made of calm. "Alara," it said, "you have listened well." Alara's breath caught. "Who are you?" she whispered. "I am the echo of the forest's dream," said the fish. "I am what remains when silence becomes voice." "I don't understand." "You will," it said kindly. "The forest has watched you light your lantern each night. You kept peace alive while the world forgot how to rest. Now, that peace must travel farther than your window." The pond shimmered brighter. The trees leaned closer, their leaves trembling with a soft song. "Alara," the fish continued, "take the forest's calm into your heart. When you breathe, let peace breathe through you. When you speak, let others find rest in your words." The golden glow swirled upward, touching Alara's chest with a warmth that spread like sunlight through morning mist. She closed her eyes. Her heartbeat slowed. She felt the world expand, each leaf, each drop of dew, each hidden creature moving together in perfect stillness. When she opened her eyes, the fish was gone. The pond lay quiet again, the moon unbroken on its surface. But inside her something had changed. The return Alara turned toward home, her steps lighter, her breath deep and calm. The forest no longer felt vast or strange. It felt alive, awake, and welcoming. Everywhere her lantern's glow touched, flowers lifted their heads. Tiny silver buds opened, releasing faint perfume that mingled with the night. Even the stones seemed to hum beneath her feet. When she reached the edge of the trees, she paused and looked back. The forest shimmered faintly, a living sea of light and shade. It no longer whispered her name. It simply breathed with her as if they shared the same quiet pulse. She smiled, bowed her head slightly, and whispered, "Thank you." The wind brushed her cheek like a reply. The lantern's promise back inside her cabin. Alara placed the lantern on her table. Its flame was small but steady, burning without flicker, as if it no longer needed oil or air, only peace. She sat beside it, hands folded on her lap, and listened. Outside, the forest exhaled. Crickets returned to their song. An owl called once and fell silent again. Alara closed her eyes. The golden warmth in her chest echoed softly, a rhythm that matched the whisper of the trees. When she spoke, her voice was barely a breath. "I understand now." She reached for her journal, a worn little book bound in green cloth, and wrote, "Tonight the forest spoke. It asked nothing. It only reminded me to be still." Then she set the pen aside and rested her head on her arm. The lantern's glow wrapped around her like a gentle hand. The sound of the forest melted into her breathing, slow and even. In the distance, thunder murmured beyond the hills, but here, in this small wooden home, there was only peace. Alara drifted toward sleep, and as she did, she thought she heard the forest singing softly, not to her this time, but through her. A whisper that carried far beyond the trees, through valleys, over rivers, into hearts that longed for quiet. The forest breathes when dawn arrived. The first light touched the forest floor, turning dew into tiny sparks. Alara stirred, the golden warmth still pulsing faintly inside her. The lantern's flame had gone out, yet its glow remained in the air, a calm that lingered like the memory of music. She stepped outside. The sky was soft blue, the trees alive with gentle movement. For a moment she thought she saw a ripple in the air, like a sigh of light passing through the leaves. Then very faintly the forest whispered again, "Rest easy, Alara. You are part of the hush now." A smile touched her lips. She breathed deeply, in and out, letting the peace fill her completely. Dawn in the whispering woods, morning sunlight trickled through the trees, threading gold between emerald leaves. Elara stood by her door, eyes half closed, listening to the still rhythm of life around her. The forest no longer called to her in words, yet she felt its pulse inside her chest, a soft, endless hum. She touched her lantern, now cool and quiet. Last night's glow had faded, but the calm it carried had taken root within her. Elara whispered to herself, "The forest breathes through me now." A faint breeze answered, ruffling her hair as if in agreement. A whisper beneath the wind as the day stretched. Elara tended her garden, picked herbs, and brewed tea that smelled of mint and honey. But the air felt different. Beneath the warmth of morning lay a hidden chill, a secret sound like water murmuring far below the earth. She paused, listening. The whisper deepened, turning into a melody of slow ripples. Elara, her name again, but this time carried by water, not wind. She looked toward the path she had walked last night. Beyond the trees, a shimmer of blue glinted faintly in the sunlight. The forest is calling again, she thought. Only now it wanted to show her something new. The hidden path she packed a small satchel, a loaf of bread, her herb flask, and the lantern of stillness. Then, barefoot, she stepped onto the forest floor. The soil was damp, soft against her feet, and the light that filtered through the leaves made tiny moving mosaics on her skin. The whisper of water grew stronger with every slow step. Soon the ground sloped downward, and a scent of river stones filled the air. Birds fluttered from branch to branch, their wings scattering sunlight. Elara followed their flight until she reached a clearing where mist hung low, silver and cool. There, between the trees, flowed the river of dreams. It moved like living glass, clear but glowing with pale blue light, as though moonlight had found a way to keep flowing after dawn. Elara knelt at its edge. Tiny ripples brushed her fingers, and the water felt neither cold nor warm, just perfectly balanced, like time itself had slowed within it. The voice of the river, Elara, the voice rose again, this time soft and melodic, as if sung by the current. "I am the river of dreams," it whispered. "I carry the memories of every sleeping soul. Their hopes drift within me, their fears dissolve in my flow." Elara closed her eyes, letting the words settle deep inside. "Why have you called me?" she asked. "Because you carry stillness in your heart," said the river. "But the world beyond the trees has forgotten its rest. Dreams are tangled, hearts are heavy. Will you help me untangle them?" Elara breathed slowly, watching a swirl of light circle her reflection. "I am only one person," she said gently. "One is enough," the river replied. "When peace travels through one heart, it reaches many." The current brightened. A single droplet lifted from the surface, floating like a pearl before her eyes. "Touch it," the river said. Elara reached out, and as her fingertip met the droplet, a vision unfolded. Visions in water. She saw cities lit with restless fire, streets full of hurried souls, faces heavy with unspoken worry. Then she saw children dreaming, their laughter spilling into light, mountains resting beneath clouds, oceans breathing in perfect rhythm. Every image pulsed with the same quiet beat she'd felt inside herself. The river's voice echoed softly. "All things dream, the sky, the stone, the heart, the seed, but dreams grow dry without calm." Elara whispered, "Then let my calm flow with yours." The droplet dissolved into her skin. The warmth spread through her palms, then into her arms, then through her chest until her whole body felt as fluid as the river itself. When she opened her eyes, the water had mirrored her completely. Her reflection smiled back, not her face exactly, but a gentler version glowing with soft light. "The river's gift, Elara," murmured the current. "From this day, wherever you walk, you will carry a stream of peace. When you breathe, others will breathe easier. When you rest, the world will remember how to rest with you." A petal drifted across the surface, a tiny blue flower shaped like a star. "Take it," said the voice. "It will guide you when silence feels far away." Alara cupped the petal carefully, and as she held it, it turned into a small crystal drop, cool and bright. She tucked it into her satchel beside the lantern. "Thank you," she whispered. "Go gently," the river replied. "My song will follow you." The path home Alara rose, her steps light but steady. The forest around her felt new again, greener, slower, more alive. She could hear faint echoes of the river even after she left its banks, like a lullaby threading through the trees. By the time she reached her cabin, the sun was low and golden. She placed the lantern on her windowsill, and beside it, the crystal drop that shimmered faintly. When night arrived, the two lights, flame and crystal, glowed together, casting waves of soft blue and gold across her walls. Alara sat quietly, hands folded, listening to the rhythm of water inside her memory. Outside, the forest whispered again, but now the whispers sounded like tiny streams flowing through leaves, through air, through dreams. The dreamer's rest that night. As Alara drifted toward sleep, she felt herself floating again, this time on the surface of the river of dreams. The water carried her gently, cradling her like a child in a mother's arms. Above her, stars drifted like lanterns. Below, she saw faint images of every person she'd ever met, smiling, resting, breathing. The river sang softly, "Sleep, keeper of calm, for peace is a circle. As you rest, the world rests with you." Alara smiled, eyes half closed, and whispered back, "Good night, river." The current slowed, and soon she was home again, safe beneath the whispering trees, her heart as still as moonlight on water. A morning of silver mist when Alara woke. The world was wrapped in silver. Mist curled between the trees, and the sound of water was only a memory, as if the river of dreams had hidden itself away. She stepped outside, barefoot again, and the earth was cool, soft, alive. Her breath made tiny clouds in the pale light. The crystal drop from the river still shimmered on her windowsill. When sunlight touched it, a thin beam spread across the forest floor and pointed toward the deeper woods, a direction she had never walked before. Ilara whispered, "Where do you want me to go now?" The crystal's glow pulsed once, as though answering. "Follow." Into the heartwood she walked quietly. The path twisted between ancient trees whose trunks were wide as towers and roots coiled like resting serpents. Every few steps, she heard soft rustling, but it wasn't wind. It was breath. The forest was alive, breathing slow and deep. Moss cushioned her feet. Tiny lights danced in the air, fireflies even though it was morning. Their glow whispered against her skin like invisible fingers tracing her path. She began to feel a presence, not frightening, not strange, but vast and kind, older than memory. "Ilara," the voice came not from one place but from every tree around her. "The guardian's voice who speaks," she asked softly. "We are the roots and the rings," said the forest. "We are the shade and the soil. We are the memory beneath your feet." A figure began to take shape ahead, not fully seen, as though woven from leaves, bark, and light. It stepped forward, and Alara saw eyes of deep green, like two small worlds hidden in moss. "I am the guardian of the trees," the figure said. "I have watched you since the first whisper. The river has chosen you, but water alone cannot keep dreams alive. Dreams also need shelter." Alara bowed her head slightly. "What must I do?" The guardian smiled, a slow motion like the curve of growing vines. "You must learn the secret of still growth." The lesson of still growth. The guardian touched the ground, and the soil opened, revealing a young sapling glowing faintly blue. "Watch," it said. The little tree trembled. For a moment it reached upward, leaves unfolding eagerly, then it paused, its motion slowing until it was utterly still. Ilara waited. "Is it asleep?" she asked. "No," said the guardian. "It is becoming. Growth is not always motion. Sometimes it is patience. Sometimes it is the quiet between breaths." Alara knelt beside the sapling. "I think I understand," she whispered. "When I rest, I still grow inside." The guardian nodded. "And so does the world. That is why peace is sacred. It allows all things the time to become." The circle of green light, the guardian lifted one hand. From its palm spread a ring of soft green light that drifted across the forest floor like mist. Everywhere the light touched, leaves brightened, flowers unfolded, and tired branches straightened. Alara felt the warmth flow through her chest, calm and steady. "Take a piece of this light," the guardian said. "It will answer when silence feels broken." The glow condensed into a small seed that floated before her. She caught it gently. It pulsed once alive. "Plant it where you rest," said the guardian. "And when you dream, the forest will dream with you." Memories beneath bark. Alara looked around her. Each tree now seemed to whisper its own story, laughter of children who once played beneath, rainstorms that had passed and returned, seasons layering memory upon memory. The guardian spoke again, its voice now almost a lullaby. "The world forgets how old it is, but we remember. Every leaf carries a sigh, every root holds a name. Sleep, and we will watch." Alara's eyes softened with tears, not sadness, but the ache of beauty. "I wish everyone could hear you," she said. "They will," the guardian replied, "when they learn to listen not with their ears but with their rest." The farewell of the trees, the mist began to thin. The guardian's outline faded with it, leaves falling silently where its feet had stood. "Alara," it said softly, "you are now part of the forest's circle. Carry our calm to those who wander. When their dreams grow weary, let your voice be their shade." The last of its words drifted like pollen, glowing briefly before dissolving into the wind. Alara held the glowing seed close. "I promise," she whispered. Then she turned back toward home. Returned to the cabin. When she reached her cabin, the crystal from the river and the new seed gleamed beside each other on the windowsill. Water and wood, motion and stillness, two halves of the same piece. Alara placed the seed in a small clay pot and covered it gently with soil. Then she poured a drop of the river's water upon it. The seed glowed faintly, and the scent of earth filled the room. Night fell softly, and outside the trees whispered blessings, a lullaby of leaves brushing together. Alara sat beside the window, hands folded, listening. Each breath she took carried the rhythm of the forest's heart. Slowly her eyelids lowered, and the world began to fade again into a silver calm. Dream of the guardian. In her dream, she stood again before the great trees, their trunks like pillars of eternity. The guardian appeared not as a figure this time, but as a great light within the forest itself. Its voice was everywhere. "Sleep, gentle keeper. The river flows, the trees stand. The balance holds. You have become the bridge." Alara smiled in her sleep. Her heart glowed softly, and her breath joined the sigh of the leaves. The forest hummed in answer, and the whole night was filled with the sound of peaceful breathing. The night of still stars. The evening came quietly. Alara sat by her window, watching the small seed in the clay pot. It had grown. A delicate green shoot now reached upward, its leaves faintly luminous in the dark. The lantern's light flickered beside it, and the crystal from the river shone pale blue. Together, they cast a circle of mixed gold and silver across the room. Outside, the forest whispered. But this time the whisper had changed. It sounded like singing. A soft harmony, woven by wind and branches, called her name once more. "Ilara!" She rose slowly, her bare feet brushing the wooden floor, and stepped outside into the moonlight. The air was cool, the ground soft with dew. Each star above shimmered brighter than before, as though the heavens themselves had moved closer to the earth. The call of the moon path between the trees, a pale light began to form, a path made of moonbeams, stretching deep into the forest. Alara touched her heart, feeling its gentle rhythm. Then she picked up her lantern and followed the glowing trail. As she walked, the world grew quieter. No sound of crickets, no flutter of wings. Only her footsteps and the steady hum of light beneath her. The path twisted and shimmered like a ribbon of soft silver, and ahead she saw an archway made entirely of mist. It pulsed like a living heartbeat. Symbols drifted across its surface, tiny shapes like eyes, feathers, and stars. Alara stopped before it. Her voice was barely a whisper. "What is this place?" A voice, deep and kind, answered from within the gate. "The keeper of dreams, I am the keeper of the dream gate," the voice said. From the mist, a figure stepped forth, tall and graceful, draped in flowing silver robes that shimmered like moving clouds. Its face was soft and undefined, as if woven from starlight itself. Only the eyes were clear, deep pools of blue, reflecting everything Alara had ever dreamed. "You have come far, forest child," the keeper spoke gently. "The river blessed your heart, the trees blessed your breath. Now you must learn the final secret, the art of crossing between worlds." Alara bowed her head. "What lies beyond this gate?" "Peace," said the keeper, "and also reflection. For beyond lies the realm where dreams are shaped by truth." The test of stillness, the keeper extended a hand. "Before you pass through, you must face your own dream." Alara hesitated. "My own dream?" "Yes," said the keeper. "The one that sleeps beneath your calm. The dream that you have never dared to speak aloud." The mist thickened around them. The air turned cool and the moonlight dimmed. When Alara opened her eyes again, she was standing in a meadow she recognized, but this time it was empty. The wind was still. The sky above was vast and gray. Then she saw her younger self, a small girl, sitting alone on a fallen log holding a wilted flower. The girl looked up at her and said softly, "Why did you stop singing to the night?" Alara's chest tightened. "I thought no one could hear me." The child shook her head. "The forest always heard, the stars always listened." Tears gathered at Alara's lashes. She knelt beside the child and placed her hand over the small one. "I forgot," she whispered, "but I will sing again." The girl smiled, and as she did, the meadow filled with light. Flowers bloomed in spirals of color. The sky cleared, and a song rose, soft and wordless, from everywhere at once. Alara felt warmth spread through her, a peace she hadn't known since she was a child. The keeper's voice returned, gentle and echoing. "Now you remember. The gate opens only for those who remember who they are." Through the dream gate the mist parted. The archway shone brighter, and the symbols began to spin slowly like stars finding their constellations. Alara took one last deep breath. The world seemed to pause as though waiting for her next step. Then she stepped forward. For a moment she felt herself dissolve, her body becoming light, her heartbeat blending with the hum of the stars. When the light faded, she was standing in a world both strange and familiar. The dream realm. She stood upon soft clouds that glowed faintly with moonlight. Below she could see the tops of the whispering trees, shimmering like waves of green and silver. Above her, a sea of stars moved slowly, their trails forming shapes, faces, animals, rivers, and hearts, all shifting like dreams themselves. A soft voice surrounded her, neither near nor far. "Welcome, dream walker. You are now within the heart of peace." Elara turned and saw streams of light floating around her, each one pulsing with faint colors. "What are they?" she asked. "Dreams," said the voice. "Each one belongs to a soul resting now. You can hear their stories, but only if you listen with stillness." Alara closed her eyes, and the lights began to sing, soft, wordless melodies that drifted through her like warm rain. She heard laughter and lullabies, and the sound of waves breaking gently on unknown shores. Every sound melted into calm, every color breathed in time with her heart. The bridge of echoes in the center of the dream realm was a wide bridge made of transparent glass. Beneath it flowed the same river of dreams, only now glowing with all the colors of night. The keeper appeared beside her. "This bridge connects all who dream," they said. "When you speak gently in your waking life, your voice crosses this bridge and touches those who cannot find sleep." Alara looked down. She saw faces reflected in the water below, people she had never met, resting peacefully as she whispered to them in dreams. Her eyes filled with light. So every calm word, every soft song reaches someone. "Yes," said the keeper. "The peace you carry flows endlessly. That is the secret of the whispering forest. It was never just trees and rivers. It was the beginning of all rest." The blessing of return, the keeper turned to her, lifting both hands. A gentle glow formed between their palms. "Take this," they said. "It is the breath of dreams. When you return to your world, let this breath guide your words. Let it fill your voice so that every listener finds a path to peace." The glow floated into Alara's chest. It spread warmth through her throat, her lungs, her heart. She breathed in slowly, and when she exhaled, the air shimmered like silver dust. "Now," said the keeper softly, "it is time to go home." Alara hesitated. "Will I come back?" "You never left," the keeper smiled. "The forest and the dream are one. You carry them wherever you breathe." The return, the light faded. Alara opened her eyes, and she was once again standing in her cabin. The candle beside her flickered softly. The tiny plant in the pot had grown taller, its leaves glowing faintly in rhythm with her breath. Outside, the forest hummed the same calm song she'd heard in the dream realm. She sat by her window, placed a hand over her heart, and whispered, "Thank you for letting me be part of the dream." The trees swayed gently in answer. The river murmured in the distance. And far above, the moon drifted silently, watching over the whispering world. The morning after the dream, Alara awoke with sunlight spilling across her face. The world outside her cabin glowed golden, the kind of light that only appears after long rain and gentle rest. Her little plant had grown taller still. It now bore a single flower, a bloom of pale blue, like moonlight captured in petals. When she leaned closer, the flower seemed to hum softly, a tiny echo of the river's song. Ilara smiled. She touched the crystal drop from the river, the small seed shell beside it, and whispered, "It's time." The path of return, Ilara stepped outside, carrying her lantern and the blooming plant. The forest greeted her with a breeze so soft it felt like being embraced. She walked along the same path she had once followed on the night of her first whisper, back to the river. The trees swayed gently as she passed, their leaves shining with dewdrops that caught the morning light like diamonds. Every step she took was matched by the pulse of the earth beneath her. She could feel the heartbeat of the forest synchronized with her own. The river awakes when she reached the riverbank. The water was calm, not blue this time, but golden, mirroring the sunrise above. "Alara," said the familiar voice of the river, "you have returned." She knelt by the edge. "I have learned the ways of calm," she said softly. "The trees taught me patience. The gatekeeper taught me balance. And you taught me peace." The river rippled gently, its light wrapping around her hands. "Then you are ready for your final gift," said the river. "The gift of eternal rest, the peace that never fades but flows endlessly through all hearts." The offering, Alara placed the flowered plant beside the river. Its roots touched the water, and immediately a ripple of silver spread outward in widening circles. The river brightened, turning from gold to white, a living light that seemed to stretch across the forest, up the mountains, into the sky. Every dreamer will drink from your calm, the river whispered. You will not see them, but your voice will reach them in the hush before sleep, in the quiet of their breathing. Alara bowed her head. Then let me give my rest to them all. The flower glowed brighter, its petals unfolding one by one until it became pure light. It floated from her hands, drifting upward like a star returning home. The transformation as the light rose, the forest began to shimmer. The air thickened with warmth. Leaves glowed from within. The trees themselves sighed, a long, peaceful exhale that echoed through the valley. Alara felt her body grow lighter, as though her bones were made of light itself. Her hair flowed with the breeze, and her eyes mirrored the glow of the rising sun. Alara, said the river one last time, you are now one with us. You are the whispering forest. She smiled. Tears of light fell from her eyes, melting into the soil. And then she dissolved into the golden air, becoming part of everything she loved. The trees, the water, the wind, the stars. The forest remembers seasons past. The river flowed gently through summer, slept beneath the frost of winter, and awoke again beneath spring flowers. Travelers who wandered through the forest spoke of a strange calm there, a peace that settled over them the moment they entered. Some said they heard a woman's voice singing softly in the distance. Others said they felt unseen hands brush away their worries. Children dreamed of her, a figure of light walking through trees, carrying a lantern that never went out. The villagers came to call the place the Forest of Dreams. No one ever feared its darkness again. The lantern and the flower. One evening, a small child found a lantern glowing faintly beside the riverbank. Inside it, a single blue flower floated, still alive, still radiant, as though it had just bloomed. When the child picked it up, a soft whisper filled the air. Rest now, little one. The world is kind when you are still. The child smiled, lay down by the water's edge, and fell asleep, a sleep so deep and peaceful that the river itself seemed to sigh in relief. The eternal whisper now, if you listen carefully at night when the stars are low and the world is hushed, you can still hear her voice in the distance. Alara's calm whisper woven into the breath of the trees. It says, sleep gently, dream deeply, for peace is never far. You carry the forest within you. You are never alone. The river flows endlessly. The trees grow in silence. And the dream of Alara, the dream of peace, lives on in every resting heart. As dawn broke across the sky, the first sunlight touched the trees of the whispering forest. The mist began to lift, and golden light painted every leaf and petal. Where Alara once stood, a small pool of shimmering water now glowed quietly, its surface smooth as glass, its sound as soft as a sigh. From its center, the blue flower drifted peacefully downstream, its petals glowing brighter with every ripple. Birds began to sing again, their voices weaving with the rustle of branches, not in sorrow, but in gratitude. For Alara had not vanished. She had become the breath of the forest itself, the calm between every whisper, the glow within every dream. And from that day onward, when travelers rested beneath those trees, they would find sleep easier than before. Their worries would fade, their hearts would quiet, and the forest would hum softly around them, cradling them into peaceful dreams. If you listened closely, you could still hear her voice, gentle as moonlight, saying, "You are safe now. You are calm. Let go of today. Rest and dream." The wind carried those words beyond the valley, across oceans and deserts, into cities that had forgotten how to rest. People who listened, even from far away, felt their breath slow, their thoughts soften, their hearts grow quiet. And somewhere in the quiet between waking and sleep, the whispering forest lived on in every soul that learned to listen. The end.